Sales is about getting aggressive. And when it comes to getting aggressive, having a solid plan is going to help you get the best results. And throughout the key success journey, we have been delivering on not only planning, but helping those that are in sales develop the best prospecting plan to help grow your client relationships so you can meet the expectations or results that you have for yourself. We had not spent a lot of time talking about what our CRM toolkit has to offer, and we've done just one video over the last 3 years, but it's been a tool that I have personally coached so many people on how to use it. And as we shape this next year and we integrate the different tile systems we have, we're going to bring that opportunity to so many people that are in so many different industries that are trying to experience higher results with their sales process. Maybe you use Salesforce or some other type of digital CRM. That's totally okay. Our toolkit is designed to help you grow relationships in a note-taking environment so you can have a better relationship. In this one-on-one call, I do a quick overview of how you use the CRM toolkit, as well as how you can start to integrate your daily plans to help achieve the results that you want to. So if you have a few minutes, I highly encourage you to learn about our CRM toolkit and take the first step with digital planning and the Key to Success Planner. Stick around. I'm going to give you some information at the end of the call so you can learn how to get connected with me so you can get started.
Can you hear me, Brandon?
Good morning.
Good morning.
My Zoom application's open, but it disappeared, so I'm trying to figure out where it went.
No worries.
There she is. How are you today?
Well, sir, how about you?
For a Monday morning in central Wisconsin, I am fabulous. How about yourself?
Well, I'm doing probably a little better than you on the weather front because I know what I spent a little time up in your neck of the woods many years ago, so I know how this time of year can be a little sometimes great, sometimes not so great.
Is that correct? You're using Remarkable 2 in OneNote?
Well, I'm not really using OneNote. I'm using a Remarkable mostly, and I got the PDF, and I guess that's where maybe I'm not using it correctly. That's the reason why when I saw you and I were going to have the opportunity to chat, I thought that might be a big help. So I do have the PDF calendar format for Remarkable that you sent me. I'm not currently using it, but hopefully after today that'll change. But I do have that as well as the OneNote because I was looking for really honestly, I was looking for a CRM, to kind of help me with keeping track of some of the stuff that comes in the door.
Makes total sense. So will you say your primary objective is to use it as a daytimer style planner, as well as to be able to kind of track and prioritize, what tasks and such you have on your plate, or what would be your primary objective?
Yeah, that's my primary objective is really to use it as a hybrid. We had Salesforce.
But when I design a CRM toolkit, I design it to be something you could use independent of like Salesforce or something you could use as part of Salesforce. Generally speaking, when we meet with people, having a computer out in front of them and typing keys is distracting. It almost comes off as being rude and unattentive to your clients' notes and concerns. But when I have a yellow pad of paper out, and I'm working with a client, if I'm writing down information, there seems to be a level of engagement that's taking place. So that it actually creates a bond or a connection, and it's a good way of taking notes. Well, when you're using like Salesforce and those CRMs, they don't do a good job to allow you to like take notes with them in them, especially from a handwriting standpoint. So the whole concept with the CRM toolkit was to be able to provide a tool that you could use for note taking, but yet still be able to build on that client relationship and either import or export notes into Salesforce or other CRM products, or to be able to use this as kind of its own standalone for you. So it starts on the top of the page here where it says vision board. What the vision board allows you to do is it's just a roadmap for like, what is your sales goals for the year? Who are you prospecting? Who are your clients? What areas are you trying to grow the organization, your sales funnels, what products and services have a higher opportunity of return, and just a place for you to create a vision for the year, and then go through and then start to write a plan from where you go from here and what are your priorities, as well as kind of mapping out what your path looks like when it comes to creating that plan or structure for the year. And then obviously just inputting, who's going to help make the difference, who are some key contributors, if they be vendors or relationships, and then what is your absolute goals that you want to achieve. Going back to the key tab, by clicking that T tab again, then I have a place here where I can indicate annual goals. So this kind of helps me understand where the goals are for myself and my professional growth for the year and how I'm going to help grow my customer base and things in that nature. And then
Sure.
when I get into each of the quarters, under each quarterly planning tool, there's basically a page that allows you to like take on the quarter and kind of basically develop a process for the quarter. Sketch out what your path looks like this quarter, where's the motivation, and then outline a 12-week timeline of, which can result in prospecting, call, relationship development, product rollout, discovery conversations, whatever the nature is. And in addition to that, a space where as you move through the quarter, you can write notes reflection. You can write notes about where it was that you were finding traction, what areas maybe didn't have as much traction you wanted to, and then a place for you to indicate at the end of the quarter what was the biggest accomplishments, as well as what was some of the unfinished business, indicating challenges, hurdles, what were some of the key results. And this is a place for you to kind of have a log of what it was that you worked through. And then we get into each month, I like to have some type of just monthly grid just to help me think through what my sales process might look like. If you're a traveling salesperson or if you're in the office, if there's promotions and stuff, so be it. But on this page here, you can see up in the corner here where I have ABC Stainless, Bob's Repair, and
Right.
Bearcat Auto. This is a
Right.
place you can write down client information. If I click to the little triangle to the left of them, this gives me the opportunity to kind of dive in to this client board. I am able to indicate who the client is or the contact is, information about them, as well as what is my interest statement. When I was in sales full time, one of the things that I always wanted to reflect on was why was I really interested in the customer? What was the motivation or what made me want to engage in that customer other than just a revenue source? I wanted to have something that was organic to me. And then from there, let's talk about prospecting the customer, qualifying the customer. And these are all different habits for successful salespeople. Is by prospecting the customer, you're basically understanding, trying to figure out what services and such align with them. Qualifying is identifying how they match up to what your business can provide. What is the pitch? What are you initially going to try to pitch or offer them? And then what is the value proposition? One of the obviously objectives of overcoming any sales call is being able to provide some type of value for that customer to be able to relate to. And if you can have a good value proposition, you're going to have a higher close rate. And
Right.
then what is the why buy? That's always a question that comes up, people. And then what is the client's objectives? And I
Okay.
use it to kind of help outline as I'm building on that client. I like to keep these 6 boxes up to date because every time I go to call on the customer, it's a great 1 minute, 3 minute refresher just so I can
Sure.
put my headspace back into what their needs are. And then
Right.
from here, this is basically, I use this as a way of either building a wireframe board of who I'm connecting with and what they're in charge of versus what products do they have and what services we have that might align. Or you can use the success board to build a tree of people in the organization or what you see the call process taking place. They always say that 85% of salespeople will stop calling on a prospect by the fifth call if they don't have a result. At the same time, 85% of customers will make some type of purchase within the sixth call. So what I like to do here is I like to be able to indicate as I move through the process, what are milestones that I'm looking to achieve? Is it that first meeting? Is it an introductory? Is it a proposal? Is it a presentation? I like to be able to chart that as I move through the process with them, just so that I'm able to share my own growth with that prospect. And then from there, I have the ability to have a call summary for each one of the individual calls I make with them, write down follow-ups to the email or in person, then a date and a time. And this is really helpful because it gives me just a dashboard of what my activities have been. And if I go back
Sure.
to that keyboard or back to that key space, under each one of the clients, there's these meetings 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I can click
Right.
on say 1, and what that'll do is that'll take me to a meeting page that's designated just for that customer. So I can keep my meeting notes right here, and I can actually swipe in the Remarkable Planner I can swipe to each of the meeting pages. And there's 6 of them to start with, which is pretty good. And you can always add more pages in Remarkable if you choose to. And then at the end of all 6 meetings, there is a 1-page place for just notes. And you can use this to kind of keep a diary of transactions or whatever nature may be. So the concept with this CRM toolkit is a written diary of your relationships, and it's also a place where you can go through and log a process. You can take a visionary look at the prospect or client, log a process that you might be able to use to engage with them, and then be able to keep track of how you're moving through that relationship. I have always used this to not only optimize who I'm calling on, but to make sure that the clients I'm calling on really fit in the scope of what it is I'm looking to do. As a salesperson, I have had people in the past that will try to tell me they're calling on 100 customers. Out of those 100 customers, how many do you expect to close, right? And I've always been in the camp that you keep 20 prospects in your bucket and you move them prospects into clients and you pull more prospect in, but you're always working a small, granular book of business as far as prospecting goes, but you're keeping a tighter relationship with them. And I always find that yields more success for me.
Right.
So this is what the CRM toolkit looks like. When we get into the planner, the difference with the planner is the planner is meant to be a tool that you can use for keeping track of your daily activities so that those daily activities align to the big scope of things. Now, if I go into March and click on March here, this will take me to the month at a view. And then from there, I can select a date, and I believe today's the 11th. And then from here, this is my daily page. Very traditional. It follows.
Yeah, it has that definitely has that Franklin Covey feel to it, which is honestly that's what I'm used to using from going way years back. So that's that's exactly what I like navigating through.
Yeah, and I like the system that Franklin Covey put in, but I think there's a handful of things that, as we have evolved in planning, I think it's important to add in a handful of things, and that for me, it's indicating what my role, where my energy, and what am I focused on is each day. It's just a good mental clarity each day to help kind of like gain traction or gravity on what it is you're hoping to achieve. But then from there, being able to indicate not just, we always in life have become very task focused. And I think as we
Right.
become task focused, forget about what the big picture is all about. So one thing that I coach people on is as you think through your vision for the year and you start to build up those annual goals, you want to be able to have you want to have a focus each day and have 3 meaningful goals, tasks, or whatever you want to call them, but 3 things each day that are working towards that big picture for you. Or the better way I answer that question sometimes, no matter what you do down here, if you can put a checkbox in all 3 of these here, as
Right.
soon as you are able to check off those 3 key things, you can look at me, you can look at your superior, you can look at your spouse, and you can simply say, hey, I got done what I needed to do today. Everything else is
Right.
extra. And that's what I
Right.
really feel it's about, by helping to indicate that creates more direct motivation, as well as it creates a higher means of result. And I think when
Right.
we look at, we generally don't plan time. I always see when people put office time or something in that nature, what they're really saying is I'm going to check emails and go through the task, right? That's what they're doing in that space. They're, using it as a communication point. There's not a real objective there. It's just a scattered collection of things they want to achieve while they're in that office. I
Right.
tell people that office time is great and you need to have that, but if you can designate what it is you're doing in that time that's meaningful, you're going to have bigger results. Otherwise, you're just going to get lost in the tasks themselves. So that's
Right.
one thing that we've added on top of what traditional planning looks like. Um,
Sure.
the planning board is really a space just where you can, as you move forward, I have a lot of people as they plan outward, they might come in here and they might say, hey, I gotta call Tom, or prepare travel to Minnesota, right?
Right.
It's a footnote, it's something you have to do, but it's not something you're logging in. It's just a space where you can write some quick notes so that when you get to this date, you realize that there's a task or an event or something needs to take place there without actually indicating a to-do for that. Uh,
Right.
at the start of each week, and if you haven't watched our Series 1 training videos, I would highly encourage you to do weekly planning tool based on a combination of thoughts and inspiration that came from the book Getting Things Done, as well as Covey's 7 Habits of Successful People,
Sure.
and just
Right.
and just our own knowledge of how we find successful planning. And basically, this is a 15-minute task each week where you ultimately look at your week's accomplishments, you indicate what projects are rolling into next week, you identify any things that occupied or took your mind off your focus, and why that's important, not necessarily the means of creating an excuse for what it is that you didn't achieve, but for you to understand what maybe kind of came up or what hurdle got in your way. And over week after week after week, if you see consistencies of things that are taking you off focus, then that's a meaningful thing you need to address. A space where you can identify and indicate what is your goals or aspirations, what is it you're working as far as self-improvement. A lot of times I write the same thing in this box because I'm trying to build a habit for myself,
Right.
right? And then, as we look at every single week, generally people, when they look at like meetings and different proposals and things they work on, they look at them in the sense of I have to attend them and I have to do them. We don't take the time to necessarily wrestle with the fact how meaningful or important are they to making a better outcome for the week. So if I have a big meeting with a customer on Thursday, I don't want to walk into that meeting not ready to know what my questions are, to know what my opportunities might be with that individual. And all I'm doing is asking you to take a mental minute and basically write out, where those things stand so that you know that, hey, these items are important to me. These people interactions are important to me. I want to make sure when I go into those opportunities and into those meetings, I'm prepared to give the best presentation of myself that I can.
Right.
When we get down to the planning board, this is really a space where I ask people take all the post-it notes, take your whiteboard, take everything you have and plump it right into here. Everything you want
Right.
to do for yourself.
Right.
Put that in a bullet list, check box. You can draw, wireframe things, whatever works best for you. But what I
Right.
want ultimately is to put it all in front of you. And this is the whole thing with getting things done. Is one of the aspects of it is having organization of what it is that you need to do. And I find that once you put this planning board and you list all the things you have to do, it really releases their anxiety because now they actually know what they have to do, right? The question is
Right.
next, can we get it all done? Well, Franklin Covey in this book, 7 Habits of Successful People, he says, do first things first because those are the most meaningful to your overall success. So we built these 4 quadrants and we basically ask ourselves what things from this planning board are critical, what things
Yep.
are not critical. From the
Right.
things that are critical, what is something that has a hard deadline and it's an emergency, it's a fire that you ultimately have to do now versus what things can you schedule out in the week? And then as we move into things that are not so critical, again, where is there opportunities to schedule? Where might be there's some duplication or some things that you can maybe reduce. But what we're
Right.
doing here is we're breaking everything down into these 4 quadrants to be able to outline what is our goal for the week. And then for some people, they like to go ahead and they like to recap what matters most and what tasks they are. Generally, for myself, I literally, when I get done doing these 4 quadrants, I jump in my planning board and I start taking those items that are those 1 and 2 quadrant items and dropping them right into my key 3 on whatever daily page I feel that I'm going to be able to take action on them. And to me, that is a super solid exercise because now as you schedule in your other appointments and your other meetings into the planner, you now have the ability to look at the bigger picture and the broader scope of what it is you're trying to achieve from those key activities and be able to create an outline of time for them. What I think is so important about that is by doing that weekly planning thing, it helps each week pulling us back on the right tracks, right? I have a tendency from time to time as I get really busy, I just go into fight or flight mode and I just start doing what's in front of me. And
Right.
pulling myself back into that weekly planning mode helps reshape what it is I'm trying to achieve. And if I do that on a weekly basis, I might not be successful all 5 days with what it is I wanted to achieve, but if I can get the majority of the days in the direction that I want to go, I will see compounding interest. James Clear in the book Atomic Habits says, if you make a 1% adjustment each day in what it is you're going to achieve, you're going to have huge results. No different
Right.
if a pilot on an airplane takes off in Los Angeles and makes a 1 and is headed to Washington, D.C. By simply making a 1% adjustment in the heading that they're traveling, they'll actually, over the course of the 3.5 hour flight, they'll land in New York City, which New York City to Washington, D.C. is a great
Right.
travel.
Exactly. Right.
It's just a small change in the direction that they're going. So I encourage
Right.
people, if you take the 15 to 20 minutes each week to do that weekly plan, and then start pulling that plan out each day, week after week, you will see that granular movement and you'll see the compounding interest that comes from it. That's kind of a good recap of how the planner and that CRM toolkit, especially on the Remarkable, can work for you.
Looks like everything I need you and I have reviewed today. I'm probably going to schedule some more time with you as we progress because I would really like to refine this because this is honestly everything I've been looking for the last few years. A couple things that you highlighted, I've heard this a lot lately, is designating that time to train. Because most people prioritize everything they have to accomplish to get a job done, but they never set aside time to do specific tasks like training. So, and I'll definitely jump on getting some of your training videos.
Yeah, and all of our Series 1 training videos there's 6 of them, and they're 8 minutes in
Okay.
length. I
Okay.
tell people watch one and then do what you learn from it. If you do one video a day, if you block out 20 minutes, do a video and take action in that video. Within a
Okay.
week's time, you'll have a good flow. And then from time to time, if you need to
Awesome.
reconvene that information, you can. And also too, if you want to do a personalized training program, we do offer that as well, one-on-one coaching. So if there's
Okay. Sure.
something you want to work through,
Yep.
by all means, please let me know.
Yeah, we'll do that. I'll reach out to you for sure because I do believe that in investing in a little personal coaching can go a long way.
So first and foremost, I want to thank all my customers that allow me to share some of this content with the general public so that you guys can learn more about our planning system. These one-on-one calls are really special to me. I get an opportunity to kind of learn about each person's objectives and what they're hoping to achieve, and then being able to apply those in a way that aligns with our planner and develop a workflow that works for them, I think is essential for each and every person. We all have a slight different cadence on how we go about our life. And what's unique about our planning system is we can build a workflow that works best for you. Now, we have our Series 1 and our Series 2 training videos, and we're going to soon have Series 3, which really showed the forefront of how I use the planning system and how I design the planning system. So over the years, as we've expanded tiles and brought that into the narrative of daily planning, that gives you guys the opportunity to personalize your workflow and create a planning system that works best for you off the key to success core functions. Now, if you guys want to learn more about the CRM toolkit or our digital planner, jump on our website, check it out. If you guys want to connect to me, I'm happy to talk to you. Go ahead, hit the comments below. I'll answer any questions you have. If you want to deep dive, we offer that opportunity as well. One-on-one meetings are available with me, and I love coaching people on their business success. So if you've been a salesperson for a long time, if you are a new business owner, or looking to start in this career by either growing in sales or starting a business, I want to hear from you. With that being said, Lord willing, guys, I hope to see you guys in the next video. God bless each and every one of you.